We're back. T.A. Mahoney, Tales from the Dark Side. I brought one in today. He's a buddy, a customer. I guess you'd call him a little bit of a weirdo. I got some stories, so I'll let y'all make the judgment on that. But we got Captain Gary Wash in today. How you doing, Gary?
Pretty good, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I met Gary How long you been shopping here? Would you say?
Oh,
Long time.
12, 13 years?
Yeah,
Long
I
time.
can remember at least that coming in here and seeing you come in. Let us know a little bit of history about you, Gary. Like, where were you born?
Right here in the Bay Area.
Right in the Bay Area. When did you start fishing?
Oh, probably when I was like 12 years old.
12 years old you
12 years
started.
old.
You
Yep.
remember that day?
Yes, sir. Just like it was yesterday.
Yeah, let's hear about it, man. Where were you?
Yeah, well, I was like a summer day. I met a guy down in Ruskin down there, where I used to live at down there on the
Right.
Manatee River. Name was Dunn Slater. He was a crab fisherman.
Oh, yeah.
He was a boat mechanic, and he was a guide.
Did it all.
Yeah, he taught me everything I knew.
Yeah, that day, what'd y'all catch?
Oh, everything that bit that hook. We caught snook, redfish, trout. I mean, he put me on the fish.
Yeah, wow, for a 12-year-old to go out like that and have that day, I guess you were hooked at
Yes,
that
sir.
point,
That's
huh?
all. That's all it took.
Did your parents, did they fish much or any siblings or?
Nah, my brother fished a little bit, but my mom, she the one that's a fisherman addict. We used to always go like little ponds and stuff like that, catch brim, catfish. So
Yeah.
I always tagged behind her, so I knew I was gonna be something.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think a lot of my buddies and a lot of people I know that are fishermen, that's where it all started. You know, as a little kid, we didn't have that access. You being down in Ruskin was probably pretty easy to get on the bay. I grew up, in Brandon, so I was really limited. I was more or less, if you could get past the mean cows in the cow pasture, you could maybe get out there in the pond and catch you one. But that's where it all started for me. And then from there, you always wanted to be a guide, or
So from day one,
from day one, that's what you put your sights on, huh?
yeah, just a lot of experience from watching Mr. Dunn. Get ready for that day's fishing, prep the boat, tell him what type of bait you're going to use, what type of rod, and mostly where to find the fish at was like the biggest thing.
Yeah. And that's one of the most amazing things is when you put that whole package together, from getting ready and getting a rod and reel and having somebody with some knowledge passing something on to you, and then you actually gain success. It's pretty amazing how you can catch those fish. I bet your mom loved you bringing home some of them fish, huh?
Oh my gosh, she made me clean every one of them too.
Yeah. Don't waste any meat, right?
Oh no, not back then. There wasn't much a limit back then. You catch what you keep,
Yeah.
and you got to clean it.
Well, I think if there was a limit, there wasn't many people talking about limits. You know what I mean?
Oh no, it was tight-lipped.
What's the difference you see back then as far as now and then, and much easier way back?
Oh, crazy easy. I mean, you could just fishing with Mr. Dunn. It was easy. 20, 30 redfish a day, 10, 15 snook. I mean, just unphenomenal fishing there back in those days because the bait was full of life.
Yeah.
Everything was there.
Wasn't a lot of pressure either down there in
No.
Ruskin. Was it's
Well,
nothing like it is now.
You didn't see many boats on the water, but there's a lot of canoes out there. But people weren't really on the fish as much. I mean, the fish basically came to you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I've seen it like that too as a kid, and we all have to accept the way it is now. It's definitely a beautiful sanctuary, and love fishing out there. Do you remember some of the biggest fish you caught as a kid with Mr. Dunn?
I think my biggest redfish with him was maybe 30 inches. I think back then.
Man, that's
back
a
then
monster.
that was a bull red back
Oh
then.
yeah.
Because it was the bait was full of them. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go anywhere. I mean, Cockroach, Manatee River, Joe's Island, Bishop Harbor.
And not even see another boat, I bet.
mean, not another boat up in there. He was a crab fisherman, and he knew when you checking your crab traps, he knew what a school of fish were
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
Well, one of the things I've realized too, we talked about it on the radio show the other day, me and Ben Marshall, the kingfish, when they get out there on the beach, where do they get? They get on those crab trap lines.
Oh yeah.
And a crab trap, and I'm sure he told you had to be on hard bottom.
You had to be there, yeah.
Yeah, it couldn't
Most
be.
definitely.
That's where at least the stone crabs are. I don't know. Blue crabs, I think, will be in a little bit of that mud, but
Oh yeah.
that side has a little bit of mud. You like soft shell crab?
Yeah, I had it once in Louisiana.
Oh, you didn't have it from your buddy down
No,
there,
no,
huh?
no, no, they have it from there. I mean, we always ate the big blue crab. We never ate a soft crab. But
Right.
it was always the big blues down
Yeah,
there.
and
And
they
big
were
back then.
abundant for
Oh, yeah.
sure. Some of the people we talk about the bay, and a lot of us think that our water today is a lot different than it was back then. But in the 70s, Tampa Bay had a lot of stuff dumped into it
Oh,
that
yeah.
shouldn't have been.
Yep.
So a lot of those 70s and 80s and even into the 90s is when I really saw it getting better. We started catching coral
Right.
downtown.
Wow.
Now, when I pull a chunk of coral out off a dock and we're fishing docks in there,
Right.
that kind of tells me something good is happening in the water,
Oh, yes.
that they're taking care of it a little bit better. But I do believe the pressure is the main thing. Today we got,
That is it.
hundreds of boats out there fishing. Where do you fish the east side much anymore?
Not much as I used to.
Right.
I'm mostly up in the Upper Bay.
That's where you like
And-
fishing
and
up there?
Got a couple of spots back there. Like I say, you want to keep a little quiet, but mostly I'm usually a little bit north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. Get out there and hide. A lot of people on that South Shore and
Oh yeah.
really from Weeden Island, both sides of the bay. You can't really hit McDill much anymore. You fish McDill or?
I fished McDill about 2 years ago, and I got lucky and I found a school of redfish up there. And
How'd
they
you
was-
sneak in there?
They was just, oh, got a good buddy. He kind of
I knew he was one of us. Tales from the dark side got in there.
he kind of wave at me, every now and then, let you know it's okay, but you can't
Yeah.
fish it that long though.
Yeah, that's used to be an awesome spot, and I'm sure you remember it well before 9/11. They had signs up, but we could go back in there anyway.
Oh, Coons Creek was must the place
Yeah,
to be. Oh,
there was two creeks there, Coons Creek and Broad Creek. I
Yeah.
think those two
Yep.
were, and somewhere back there, somebody told me they actually maybe join. I don't know if you can get there by boat. I know I've been back there one time, and I got all the way to a bridge,
Right.
and we started seeing MPs, and
Oh yeah.
we weren't in the military, so we kind of thought maybe we should get on out around with their side anyway.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've caught some big snook. I've actually had, there's a reason why they don't want you back there. For one,
Yeah.
now national security. For two, have you ever seen the bullets flying back there?
Oh, I know one.
Yeah.
AR tumble after 75 feet, and then you hit that thing.
Oh, it starts
Yeah,
tumbling.
That's a bad. You don't want to hear that.
Yeah. I've heard that before, and that's why I haven't gone back since.
Yes.
I think I might have told this story one time before, but I was back there by myself, and I was by the big posted sign, the big white sign that was on that island that
Right.
said, "Do not enter, do not go past this point with an arrow."
Right.
Well, on the next corner down to the left where it turned right there, fish showering,
Oh.
right? I'm thinking, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm here at the perfect time. I got my mirror lure on. So as I trolling motor past the no trespassing or do not prohibited area, stay out, all that stuff,
Right.
I threw my first plug out there, and those fish started hitting again, and those weren't fish. It was live ammo.
Wow.
Okay, I'm telling you, there's no doubt in my mind. They had Ninja Turtles in the mangroves. They said, this guy has been coming in here fishing, and he ain't listening to us. And they lit that water up. It was about 30, 40 feet from me. But I'll tell you what, I hit the deck of the boat. When it stopped firing, I jumped up in the tower, fired it up. I drove down to the next creek by the runway. I forget the two. I get them mixed up on the names of them. But it was the one closest to the runway there, runway lights, and a bomb went off. And I wasn't far from it. It shook the boat.
Oh yeah.
I was by myself. I got back in the boat. I said, I'm never coming back to McDill. McDill never has to worry about Mike Mahoney again.
That was it.
Well, the bomb squad told me they lit off, a bomb on McDill that you know, we get all kinds of people coming in here from the
Right.
county and stuff. And bomb squad guy was in here a few days later, and I was telling him about it, and he said that when USF has in their science department has nitromethane that gets mold on it,
Right.
that it's, you know, it can explode. So they call the bomb squad. They take it in that special heavy duty trailer.
Mhm.
They take it out to McDill, and they got a space there that they blow it up, and it doesn't hurt anything.
Wow.
Well, I was in the creek right around the corner from there, and I'm telling you, it shook the boat. So McDill doesn't even have to worry about me ever again. Even when I saw the permission, they had some kind of. Did you happen to get in there on any of that?
I got in there on the last day. Me and a good buddy of mine, he knows Doug Westlake really good, and Dwayne.
Yeah.
And that day's fishing was phenomenal. We had redfish and snook 10 feet from the boat.
I mean, I can't imagine that nobody's been in there for so long.
Oh, it's just the fish.
Crazy.
The fish were never spooked. You can actually go up to the fish and I was taking my fishing rod and I was poking some of the redfish.
Wow.
And that's just how calm the fish were back in that one day we fished it.
Now, when you went back in there, did you have your boat, or did y'all fish
Yeah,
from
No,
shore?
we was in the boat. That one day they allowed so many people to come in with that pass, and you can fish
Yeah.
McDill, but you couldn't get too close to the beach or close to the shoreline. It was like maybe 100 to 200 yards off.
Right.
And that's the close you get. But when the sand came up, the shallows came up, the fish was just sitting on the edge there, and you just park your boat. I think we might have moved the boat maybe twice, and we caught between me and him both at least 25 fish.
That's
At least.
awesome, man.
And everything was 10 feet from the boat. You just pitch a shrimp, let them hit it. That
You know
was it.
what's crazy about that place? I fished it with different people. I don't know if you remember Eric Shapiro.
Oh yeah.
He was a guy that was,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, pretty good and around and did a lot of TV. I went with him one time, and I'd been with Jerry Williams, so I'm thinking I've been to the Master. You know,
Right.
he has taken me to McDill, and I went with Eric, and Eric took me to 2 or 3 places that Jerry never took me to,
Wow.
which kind of surprised me, you know. But that place is just slap loaded, a really awesome place.
Oh my God, it's full.
Is that
full of fish.
that's probably about one of the places I'd like to pick if I could go in there, of course, without them shooting, and the Ninja Turtles, maybe give them the day off that day.
Oh yeah.
But I don't even think you can cut that corner now, can you?
No, no, you can't. I
They
mean,
come get you, right?
They got sensors in there. They'll know you're in there. 'Cause my neighbor down the street, he got one of those paddle boards, and he went in there one day and he said he was sight fishing. He said, Gary, I never paddled that board so fast. He said one of them guys in the ghillie suit. This guy just came out of the mangroves on a rope and said, Psst, looked at him. He said, you need to leave now. He said he
Wow.
never saw the guy, never heard the guy. All he turned around, you got an AR-15 pointing at you, and he said, leave now, do not stop. He said, man, I never paddled that thing so fast in my life.
I cut the corner one time, and of course, let me think. This is going back more than 7 years, so I'm good. I cut the corner one time on a Gasparilla day because I'm thinking I'm coming from downtown. I had to go drop people off at Gandy,
Hmm?
and instead of going all the way out to that island, I thought, why not just hang a right here in this trough? Because we used to run it all the time on the
Right.
outside of that flat. But I think that's inside the poles. I
Yeah.
never stopped and talked to nobody, but a couple boats came from the
Oh,
shoreline,
yeah.
and that's back when I used to have fast boats, you know. Now they don't call them fast if you got 2 motors. You got to have
Oh,
4
no.
motors to be fast.
That's it.
Shoot, even some of them bay boats now I see with 2 motors on them.
Oh yeah, I seen the new. I think it's a new Everglade. I think it's a 25-footer. And
Yeah.
yes, it had 2 motors on the back of that thing, and it was. I was at the Skyway getting bait one morning. I was coming back, and I mean I run pretty good in that boat. Every route it pushes that boat pretty good. Man, he just like I was sitting still. He just went by me like I was just parked. I'm like, what the heck is that? And then see now I saw Everglade, and he was gone. I mean,
Right.
for a tower boat and a big boat, that thing was getting across the bay.
The only bad thing is I think if you get them stuck, they're not going to be that easy to push out.
Because it got that step down haul, and when you bury the back end, you're stuck. And when the front end go down, you sit. I think he said, I met him at the Gander. He said he pretty much got to stay in about 2.5 feet of water. He's good. Anything less than that, he said he can feel both motors bumping the back. So
You better watch it on low tide in
Oh, yeah.
Tampa Bay,
yep.
especially if he's going to run anywhere that the fish are. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
they like that shallow water. I heard the other day you were on a big snook or something over at Whedon.
Oh yeah.
Somebody tell me right about that?
I'm gonna call it weeding, but it wasn't weeding.
It was
but we did. Me and Dwayne McGinnis, we did pretty good. We got in there. It was one of those bright days when it's real hot and the sun's up,
yeah.
and nothing outside was really moving that good. So I told Dwayne, I said, "Hold on, I'm gonna get some of this live bait." And I actually threw the bait inside the mangroves because where I'm fishing,
High water.
yeah, when the tide was coming in, while I was fishing, you can see through the mangroves. You can see the other side of the water. I said, you know what? These fish don't like the sunlight, so we need to bring them out. So I just threw a chum thing, shooter full of chum, threw in there, and I told Dwayne, just listen. You hear that pop, 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 pop. And I said, and all of a sudden you see them popping on the outside, and I ended up getting a 33 incher.
And you can keep those now, can't
Oh yeah,
you?
I was surprised it's still open. You know,
Yeah.
it's open. Yeah.
You seeing plenty of them that size and that slot?
Oh, big ones. Where I'm fishing at, it's some big snook in there. You
Yeah.
just got to bring them out of those mangroves because they land in that shade. But once that tide gets high enough, you just like I say, a lot of guys that throw the chum on the edge of the mangroves. No, you just got water in there. You throw it in there. When they hit the water, you can just hear the big fish just going crazy in there.
Getting my blood boiling over there. You know, I know somebody lives over there on the shoreline there, and maybe we could hustle back a big one real quick for just to check him out, make sure he's still good to eat. What you think? Of course, I wouldn't do that. I'm just kidding. Like y'all know, Butler Boyd, this is all entertainment. Butler Boyd's on retainer. Gary, I got a question for you. You fish with Doug. Doug's an employee of mine. Can you give us any good stuff on Doug? Now, I don't mean big fish or fishing holes or anything else, but like screw-ups on big fish. He acts like he never misses, never does anything. Is he that good of a fisherman?
I don't want to throw him under the bus, but when we was fishing the other night, we went down to the port, and we was fishing a little spot in there where he hooks about a 20 inch redfish. And I said, Doug, let me get the net. I got him to get the net. So he reaches down and he grabs the line, one pull, gone. I'm like, Doug. He said, well, I'm going to release him anyway. No, I want to eat the fish.
Yeah.
It's open season.
That's right.
But other than that, he's a good guy, man. I mean, I fish with him a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
Doug's a trooper, man. He ain't going to come in right away, and he'll push the limit. Like when you talk about fishing the port,
oh, yeah.
Doug will go to the gray area.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll argue the gray area until an AR-15 forces him to get back on his side of the tracks.
Well, we got the lights the other night when we was out there.
Did you? The red and blues?
We went into a spot. He said, I know some snook in there. So I took the boat in there. We pulled it in there, and you just see pop. So he said, look at that. So we both run to the tank to get a bait. He beat me to it. All of a sudden, he throws in there, and you hear just whoosh, and just ripping line off the pole. I'm saying,
wow.
Oh, my God. So I grab me a bait. I'll go in there. We might have hooked 2-3 fish. That one time, I looked up, and I see the green and yellow lights coming.
That ain't good.
Where we was fishing, there was a fence there. The guy actually was coming over the fence. I said, Doug, let's get out of here. Cause the boys,
did y'all catch it?
Oh, yeah, we got him. Yeah.
Got him in?
We ended up getting Doug, I think he caught 4 snook. He had the 2 redfish on. He had another big redfish on. It just pulled the hook. And I think I caught maybe 5 snook that night, but it was all small males, so nothing really big. But Doug had the 2 good fish on that night.
He'll be the first one. I guarantee he's the first one in the bait well. He's going to catch the biggest fish. I fished with him before. I know.
Man. He's from Louisiana because he's definitely a bayou fishing. You hook a fish, guess what?
You know, I got
He's
I got the funniest story about Doug. Doug's Mr. Mango Snapper, right? I hear y'all at the front counter all the time. Biggest mangoes, and you have caught some big ones.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about it the other day.
He put with some big fish. Oh yeah.
I took him up to Louisiana, and of course, just like usual, everybody grabs a rod, but me, I'm still working the boat, right? So all of a sudden, you got 6 guys on a 30-foot boat. There really ain't no spot for you to fish. You know, 3 on each side. You kind of got to, well, I said, I'll sit here and maybe tie lines. And
Right.
so I sat there for 20 minutes, and they were catching fish. And I said, shoot, I could walk up to the bow of the boat and catch some big mangoes. And I knew Doug was a big mango king, thought he was anyway. Went up there. I threw an 8-pounder in the boat. He's looking around at the boat. It's green. I flip another one in the boat. He's like, holy cow, I'm going to go fish for one of them. And what does he grab? He grabs his little Abu Garcia 40-pound test mango stick. Snoopy rod's what he brought. And I said, hey, man, you want to grab one of them tarpon rods? Don't use your rod. You're just going to make them mad. Oh, I've been doing this all my life. That's what he told me.
That's Doug.
I go, okay, get on it. He threw that bait in the water, instant break off. He took him back to the rig so quick. Doug looked at me and said, "Where's that tarpon rod at? Give me one of them tarpon rods." And that's what you got to catch them on. We were talking about it, and you know how strong they are.
Oh.
Your biggest mango's what? It was. We were talking about it the other day.
27 inches.
That's
He's-
a monster.
he's
Did you weigh
A
it?
little bit over 10 pounds, yeah.
Yeah.
A little over 10 pounds, yeah.
I know I caught one here that was right at 25 and a half, 26, and he was on 10 pounds. So I guarantee that 1 inch is pushing at least a pound, if not more.
Ooh, man.
We've caught some big ones in Venice, 34 inches, 13.8. I think if you look it up, state record, world record could be around 18 pounds in
Wow.
Louisiana. Well, we got a break coming up, Gary. We appreciate you coming in. We're going to talk some more funny stuff. I want to hear about the guide drama. That's going to be my next segment, the guide drama. And you got to fill us in on something so we can. You ain't got to mention names. Maybe we'll hammer some of them indirectly. But I appreciate y'all listening. We'll be right back. We're back. T.A. Mahoney, Tales from the Dark Side with my buddy. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Captain Gary Wash.
This is awesome, man.
Been a customer. He's a guide. We're going to talk about more current stuff. What's your biggest obstacle today being a guide?
Just
What messes you up the most?
you want an honest answer?
Yeah, man, let's hear it. You ain't got to say names, but I don't care if you do. I ain't worried about nothing.
Well, it's just too many boats in the Bay Area right now. I mean, it just you try.
Is that boats or guides or just everybody?
There's a lot of guys I came across were pretty good. I mean, I fished around Joyce Jonah.
You got to have a little click, right?
Yeah, Edward Shapiro, all those guys when they was guiding back then, Dan Hicks, all those guys.
Yeah.
When I first started
Good
guiding back
guys,
then,
too.
They were good guys, man. They were willing to share a little knowledge with you. Put you on some fish, put you on some bait, and then vice versa. I find the bait, hey, it's right here. Go look,
Give each other a bone, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I try to tell people. And, it's amazing. Some of the people, I'll talk about the circle I'm in and the people I fish with, and they say, well, that's the circle I want to get in. Well, I'm not saying you can't, but it's a lot harder. And, a lot of the people I fished with 30 years ago, Ernie Rubio, Tommy LaRange, they were no names.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, Sam Bucklew, Bobby Glacier, Wisner was out there fishing at the time. John Baldwin, one of the best snook fishermen around, I mean, crazy as can be. Shelton Buck. I can name off 10 of them, but they're not around now.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not out there now. I mean, they're around, but they're not out there hitting it hard like we used to.
Oh, yeah.
We used to hit it from there. I remember I think it was Sam Bucklew and Bobby Glacier and Ernie had the first 2 towers in Tampa Bay that I can remember. And, of course, me being the third tower, I was 3 inches taller than all of them. I made sure of that. I measured the floor. I'll never forget that. And Sanchez asked me, why do you want it 7 foot, 6.5 inches? And I'm like, well, because it's 3 inches bigger than all them other guys. And we thought at the time the higher the better, right?
Oh,
but
yeah. Yep.
Really realized in shallow water that's not the case. Blue water fishing, yeah, you want to get as high as you can up there. In the bay, I think it's more of an angle than it is the height of it. If you can get up 3 or 4 feet, that's plenty enough to see 20 yards in front of the boat.
Right.
And that's kind of what we look at now. But the pressure of people, it must be hard today to be a guide, huh? I mean, all the boats on the water and
Yes, it's like I say. When I started, there was a handful of guys that I knew that I saw in the water. It wasn't abundant of those guys. When those
Right.
guys scattered out, you didn't know where they were. They were just fishing. You see them when they come back to the dock and they're all sunburned. They got the raccoon eyes, and the clients that got smiles are just hitting the back of their heads because those guys were on the fish.
right,
But now it's a lot of. I mean,
a lot more pressure.
a lot more pressure. They did a statistic about 2 years ago, and they said there's over 5 million boaters that share the water with Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete, and Sarasota.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That's a lot of boats on the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
And any spot that you think you can go to, you can leave 6 o'clock in the morning You there about 6:20? There's two boats sitting.
Oh,
there
I
now,
got my buddy Tulu Ed. If he mango fishing down at Port Manatee,
Oh yeah.
if he knows you're going at 6 a.m. at daybreak, he's going to be there at 3:30, anchored up,
Oh yeah.
waiting. That's the kind of buddies I got. I can tell you that. That no mercy, don't care. They're going to go get in your spot, fish your hole out, and then tell you they figured it out.
That's it.
I don't know
That's
how
it,
many
man.
times that's happened. See, what you like is from Gandy north, I'm thinking, right? Weeden Island north, maybe a little bit of Picnic Island, but you're up there in the north end. You get less pressure up there.
Well,
Or?
it depends on what type of tides are up there that you can get. You can get a 22 skiff in there pretty easy, get in and get out. You're
Yeah.
constantly watching that tide because you don't want to get caught back in the back. But it's. I don't think there's a guy in the bay can tell me this guy was fishing where I was fishing, because they always tell me where this guy at. And
Yeah.
when you go to Bill's Bait and Tackles, I'm known the black guy that catches all these redfish.
Hey, don't say that. Mike Goodwine might get mad there. I thought he was the redfish king. I know you catch them too. And,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
I've seen a few of his spots where he been fishing. He tried to hide the background, but man, we old salts. I'm an old guy now. Old salt, he knows where all the spots at. So
It's kind of funny when you know you can almost look at the water in some areas and know the spot. You
Yeah.
don't even have to see a shoreline.
well,
And,
you read the boat. I
yeah,
always tell anybody, read the boat. You can tell what guy at. If you fishing a drop off close to the middle of the bay or around a bridge, that boat's going to be clean.
yeah.
Now, if a guy goes back in the mangroves, the boat's
All
yellow.
nastied
The boat-
up
At the end
boat.
of the day, you can. One day I can say
Got
learn-
grass and
learn-
slime.
Learning from old man Don, he said you learn to read your area, read the boat, and you can tell what this guy's fishing
That's
at.
sneaky right there.
When you see that boat yellow, yeah, I know. I mean, you fishing in brackish water. You somewhere where the water don't move much, and those mangroves is just putting that stain in the water, and you're gonna find that guy. You're gonna find where he's fishing. Now, he ain't got to tell you. You can tell me where the fish are biting. I'm gonna look at your boat, and I'm gonna know where you're fishing at.
You'll know if he's lying or not
Oh yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
Especially you can see which way he's heading in. That was one of I used to fish a lot from Gandy really north. I never really got into Weeden Island until a couple guys took me over there, and I found out how kind of easy it is catching them fish when they're there on the outside. Christmas Pass and
Right.
that corner. We've even jugged them before with a circle hook and caught them. I mean, for hours. You could follow the school by the jug, and we did grab the jug and take the hook back out. I'm not sure if that's legal or not, but we weren't going to call anybody and ask them about it. But love that area. Something I haven't seen much of, and I drive over the Howard Franklin in my business at times, going over there back and forth, and I don't see a lot of boats back in there on 4th Street, and I used to really tear it up
Yeah.
in there. Corps of Engineers dug that out many, many years ago, and I think it's 40, 50 foot back in there in that first cove
Right.
when you come up to that creek in the back. And I know wintertime, which right now, what would you say, the fish are in kind of a transition, right? They're heading to their winter spots.
Just like Clark, just where I'm fishing up there. Like I say, around Big Island, those little deep drops right now, you're starting to see a lot of nice snook in there right now. A lot of big snook. A lot of small males around it, but when you see a female, she's 40 inches, so it's good fishing there right now.
I just want y'all to know something. Last time Doug, which you're a buddy of Doug's, last time Doug gave me a spot like Hillsborough River, he was catching it at the Banana Boat Restaurant.
Yep.
So he told me to go to the Hillsborough River because they were loaded in the river. And it was pretty funny. Tim.
Yeah.
Tim, he used to work for us. He moved up, I think, to Indiana or something. But
Mhm.
Tim had caught his first big snook with Doug, and they had gone over to the Banana Boat. But he was so excited about that fish, and he was showing me the picture. And I'm kind of a seasoned fisherman. I kind of want to know the spot more than I care about that fish you're showing me. But you can't really say that to people, right?
Right.
So I tell Tim, I said, man, what a snook. That's a snook of a lifetime. And I'm really just laying it on him. And he's just, yeah, Mike, it was unreal. I've hooked 10 of them, and this was the first one I ever got in, 38.5 inches. And then I dropped the bomb. I'm like, so where were you? He's like, oh, we were behind Banana Boat on those docks. And I go, man, that's a great spot. I like fishing there too. And he didn't think nothing of it. So I walked back up front and I saw Doug, and I said, hey, Doug, me and my buddy Casey are going fishing tonight. He said he's got the snook hemmed up. He said, nah, I've been going the last few nights. I'm going to stay home. But I'll tell you what, if I were y'all, I'd go to the Hillsborough River.
Yeah.
And Jason Lineberger, he was dogging you out. He said, Jason gave me a bone the other day, said they're loaded in the river up by Platt Street. You ought to go up there and catch them.
Wow.
I said, nah, I'm not going to go up there. I think Casey Spot's over by the banana boat. And I've never seen Doug jump vertically anything more than an inch or two. He went 3 or 4 foot, stabbing motion. And you know what he asked me, Gary? Can you please give me just one more week before you go over there, Mike? And he'll tell you these stories back when we were younger and I fished out a hole of his, but it wasn't that big of it wasn't that good, but I probably got 20 snook out of it, and it was good enough to fish it, I can tell you that.
Oh, most definitely.
It was a good one.
Yep.
Well, Gary, you primarily do the bay inshore. You take 3, 4, 5 people?
Most I like taking no more like 4 people.
4 people?
Because that 22 footers, there ain't a whole lot of room, and you want to make sure no one gets hurt, no one get a hook in them, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. I mean, you can take 6 people because the boat's ready to hold 8 people.
Right.
You know, now if it's some kids, I'll take the 3 extra kids because they're not going to be too much in the way.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's basically. I try to take no more than 4 people at one time.
I got you.
I don't want to get it crowded.
And what's your? How can somebody get a hold of you? Got a website? You got a phone number?
I got a phone number. So I do it part time because I still work a full time job, and I just do it part time. But if you want to reach me, you can reach me at 813-640-5338.
I got a good question since you brought that up about part time and full time. I saw something on social media recently where somebody had kind of, and I know it's just the drama, like. There's a little bit of drama that goes on in the guide world. It's just the way it is. There's a little drama that goes on in the marine world. And a lot of the stuff we don't necessarily put out on social media in a business aspect of it, right? But a lot of guides tend to throw some stuff out there. And I'd heard somebody make a comment about part-time and full-time. And my take on it is a part-time guy, to me, that sounds kind of bad.
Yeah.
Oh, he's part-time. Is he really part-time? He's working 2 jobs to make a living. To me, that's double time.
Yeah.
That's not part-time if you think about it. Now, as far as a career goes, I understand what they're saying, but you're telling me you work a real job, so to speak. I say real job. Fishing's hard as can be. I'm not cutting it down. I know I wouldn't want to do it. It's tough. And you fish.
Yeah.
To me, that's a hustle. That's just my opinion on it. That's somebody that wants to do something.
Oh, yeah.
And I can appreciate that, Gary. Gary, I appreciate you being a customer for so long, coming in here today and talking with us and letting us know a little bit about you. And if you would, give your number out one more time.
Yeah, the number's going to be 813-640-5338.
Great job, Gary. We appreciate you coming out, buddy. Thank you.
I appreciate you having me, Mike. I mean, it's a pleasure to be here. I mean, I always done business with you guys, man. I mean, I was telling these guys here, I'll tell them I met your dad for the first time when you had your business downtown, and I bought my first anchor from your dad.
That's awesome.
I mean, he was a pleasant guy to talk with. He was very helpful. He asked me how big the boat was and everything. He really hooked me up with that and gave me some knowledge. And when you guys moved here, it just made it even better. So I'm blessed to know you guys and know you guys run a good business. I mean, I couldn't go anywhere else, So.
Well, I appreciate that, Gary, and we're here for you, buddy. Anytime I could help you, I can tell you right now the reason why I'm here today is because of God and my dad.
Yeah.
So he has taught me everything I know, taught me to fish. I saw him last week. I'm gonna see him this week again. He's doing good. And maybe I'll learn something else. He didn't teach me all the bad stuff, but he helped me get out of that bad stuff. I can tell you that. He's my idol, that's for sure. And I appreciate you coming out, and we'll talk to y'all next time.
Yeah, man.